as a senior and found immediate success. That was that. Now Bea is an Olympian in the men's pair. To Penrith Lakes and Gary Thorne.
We pick up the men's pair. This is the semifinal race for the United States. Ted Murphy and Sebastian Bea, hoping for a medal spot. It'll be the top three in the two semifinals, moving to the finals.
A great beginning for the United States. Sebastian Bea, Ted Murphy, especially given that Sebastian just got back in the boat 2.5 weeks ago. He had hurt his back. Here we see the Yugoslavians in lane 3, just behind the Australians. Bowman, George Bisaki, was a teammate of Sebastian's at Cal. They won a national championship together.
This is a very deep draw for the United States to be involved in. Slovenia is one of the favorites. Australia is going to be very strong, especially towards the end with the crowd. Italy is also in this race. They are a very strong twosome. So for the three to qualify, it is not going to be easy. You see how tight the boats are through the 1,000-meter split.
Not a bad idea for these guys to get out in the lead, and they look good. They've got nice swing, very horizontal. Look at the concentration, Sebastian. His tongue is blue. Ted Murphy is foaming at the mouth.
And those watching among this huge crowd, Len Berman. Len.
Gary, a big crowd on hand at Penrith Lakes, the biggest we've had this week. Amongst them is Carlos Bea, the father of Sebastian. Carlos played basketball for Cuba at the 1952 Helsinki Games. So some strong Olympic genes in this family.
And he's going to be standing up to watch the finish of this race. The United States in lane 5 right now in a battle to finish among the top three. You see the splits there. Dad, if he could only lend a hand to the oar, he would.
His father is such a great supporter. He makes it to every race. Look at the Germans starting to kick it in here. These guys are experienced. They know what they're doing, and they know they've got to go. Only 3 go on.
And Australia wants to go on, especially in front of their home crowd. They are in lane 2, and they have taken the lead.
And that is how Australia beats you. James Tompkins in the stroke seat, Matt Long in the bow. It is Tompkins' style. He makes it look so easy. Long rode the same side as Tompkins. He jumped in for Tompkins' partner, Drew Ginn, when he hurt his back in Switzerland. Jumped in right before the heat. They went on to win the race. The only time they faltered was here in the heat at the Olympics. Now they look like they're on form. Look at the battle for second.
The United States continues to battle it out with Yugoslavia for the 2 and 3 positions, as Australia, with their home crowd cheering them on. And here's Germany. They are in 4th. They are going to have to put on a tremendous surge to catch these top 3 boats.
The USA at 38.5 beats a minute. Yugoslavia rowing at the same rating. Australia 36. They're just trying to win it. The USA taking it up.
USA in lane 5, trying to catch Australia. They'll pick the pace up even more as we come to the finish line. Yugoslavia, the USA, and Australia right now battling. Australia, top of your screen. They will finish 1. Yugoslavia 2. The United States 3. And they move to the finals in the men's boxless pair.
James Tompkins there in the stroke seat. That guy has so much experience. 2 gold medals in the oarsome foursome. Newcomer Matt Long, he just made the team. That guy wasn't even on the Olympic team. He jumps in. Now he's fighting for a gold medal.
What a thrill for the home crowd, and for the United States, a thrill too. You finish in the top 3, you move on. They did.
John Pescator, their coach, told me they would race to their potential. They're getting better every time. There's Sebastian's dad. He knows it.
Celebration with other family members, families on hand, of course, right in the front row. And there, the results of the semifinal second race, the top 3 going to the finals. Len Berman with the U.S. pair.
Thanks, Gary. Sebastian, you told me you're improving. You've improved all the way to the finals now.
Yeah, and we can't be any more happy. Well, I think the one thing that'll make us happy is if we win the next final. But definitely we're improving. We like the way it's going right now.
Ted, you had the lead for a long time and got caught. Does that concern you heading to the finals?
Not at all. Not at all. Our lineup's gotten back together recently. And like Seb said, each time we improve. So now we had a great first 1,500. We need to tack on 500 more meters, and we'll be in good shape.
Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
They both are men's pair finals. The medals to be awarded here in this race: the United States, Great Britain, Australia, France, Yugoslavia, and the Republic of South Africa. One of the surprise boats and countries in all of the rowing events so far this year.
And there they are, the gruesome twosome. Matt Long in the bow on the right, James Tompkins on the left.
Australia, the United States, Great Britain's the favorites in this race. Based on the races so far here in Sydney, France certainly is added to that group. They were first in their heats, first in the semis. France and Australia here in Sydney have had the better of the numbers so far.
Absolutely. The Australians won this summer in the Lucerne World Cup Regatta, and that was an incredible story in itself because favorites James Tompkins and Drew Ginn, who you may have noticed is not here, Drew Ginn hurt his back in the heat. Matt Long jumped into the boat. He typically rows the same side as Tompkins, had to switch to the other side, and they still pulled off the win. Since then, Great Britain showed up here at the Olympics. They had said they knew they had speed. They hadn't rowed to potential yet, and then they won their heat, beating Australia. So that in itself was another surprise, but also making this event more competitive.
Ted Murphy from Dartmouth College, Sebastian Bea, San Francisco, a student at Cal. The United States, a chance at a gold, or at least one of the 3 medals here in this event that goes back to the 1900 Olympics in Paris, the men's pair. We'll check it at the 500-meter mark. Great Britain in the lead. Yugoslavia second, 1.18 behind, and Australia third. U.S. fourth, and France and the Republic of South Africa. Great shot from on high. Our aerial photography is brought to you by Goodyear, #1 in tires, maker of AquaTread 3. Lead established early in this men's pair finals, and right now not being surrendered, as Great Britain, a very strong boat. There was never any question about that. Yugoslavia in lane 5, racing a very strong race. Not really underdogs for Yugoslavia, but not favorites either.
They won the Olympic qualification regatta, but they did so in such style that everyone thought, keep an eye on these guys.
Great Britain's got the lead at the 1,000-meter mark over Yugoslavia by 1.39 seconds. United States 2.5 seconds behind in third. France, Australia, and South Africa in that order. With an update on the United States rowers, let's check in with Len Berman. Len.
Well, Gary, you always wonder about nerves on the day of the final. I talked to some of the U.S. coaches. They told me actually the semis are a lot more nerve-wracking. They said you get to the finals and that's it. You go for it. Kind of reminds me of the World Series, Gary. Players and managers always say the hardest part is just getting there.
And now you just kind of lay it all on the line.
Note the name on the side of the boat, Kurt Borcherding. Sebastian Bea was out up until 2.5 weeks before the games with his back. He was injured. Kurt Borcherding, the spare for the U.S., stepped in, helped keep that boat moving, helped keep Ted Murphy on top of his game, and then Sebastian was able to step right back in.
A lot of Olympic experience for the United States. Ted Murphy, 2-time Olympian. Sebastian Bea, 4-time national team member. But right now, having to do a little catch-up work here. The United States in lane 1, 1,500-meter splits coming up with France now on top, 0.75 ahead of Great Britain. Yugoslavia is third, U.S., Australia, and South Africa.
There's Carlos Bea, Sebastian's dad, cheering them on. He knows what it feels like to be at an Olympics. And France out in the lead, 44 beats a minute. That's a rating that an 8 would be at right about now. That's insane.
France continues to hold the lead. The United States putting on a charge. Top of your screen, lane 1, the U.S. Great Britain, lane 2, falling back a bit. Australia, lane 3. The United States close to France now. France is in lane 4. These are for the medals as we come to the finish line. France still has the lead. They head to the bubble finish. France pulls up a bit further, and it'll be the French finishing first. U.S. second, Australia third.
The best they did all summer prior to the Olympics was fourth. France on top, the Bea family cheering madly Sebastian. Oh, happy day for the U.S. This was not expected. They knew they rode to their potential, but who thought they'd get a silver medal? Maybe Kurt Borcherding. And it nearly slipped away. This is almost exactly what happened to them at the Crab at the U.S. team trials. They won that time. This time they held off both the British and Australia.
Carlos Bea, the father of Sebastian Bea, celebrating, family members, friends on hand. The United States finishes second. They take the silver home. Len Berman.
Thanks, Gary. The way you guys reacted, it seems like you surprised yourselves.
It was a pleasant surprise to come through those guys. You know, we third in the heat, third in the semi, and but we knew we had more speed, and we showed it in the last 500, which is very exciting for me.
Is it safe to say it was the race of your life?
I think it's the best effort we've ever given, ever. Could we go faster 4 years from now? Yeah. But is this the best piece we could have ever done on this day? Absolutely. We're more than happy. I think, you know, especially coming back from all the problems we've had. And our boat, we named after Kurt Borcherding because he was the spare that filled in for me for at least half of the last 2 months. We could not be here without Kurt Borcherding, and that's why he was on our boat. And we, you know, this medal is partly his, and he should know that. Thank you.
And a reminder that winning the gold is not everything. There is celebration to be had in silver. But for France, it is...